September 23rd, 25 to order at 6:30. If everybody could please rise for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Billy, could you please do roll call?
Supervisor Hendrickson,
Here.
Supervisor Cole,
Here.
Supervisor Olson,
Here.
Supervisor Milliburn.
Here.
Supervisor Ledke.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and we'll open up for a public forum. Is anybody here to speak to the board? Seeing no one, we'll close public forum. Move on to the agenda. Is there any changes, additions, removals, suggestions?
I'd like to add something to it if I think that needs to go to a vote, right? But I'd like to add discussion of the agenda and how it relates to the code of conduct, just a brief. I have some questions. Is
Okay,
there time for that?
yeah, we'll make time.
So I guess
Alright.
that would be 8.2.
8.2 under new business. Okay. All right, any other changes? Any other suggestions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded from Sam and Andy. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's look at the consent agenda. It's a pretty long one. Any changes, modifications to this? All right, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded by Lisa and Bob. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed and one abstention. 4-0-1. All right. And just a quick comment out of the consent agenda. Just want to congratulate Troy Schessel in his promotion at the fire department to captain effective October 1st. It was nice write up on him. He's definitely been committed to the fire department, so it's nice to see that promotion come through. So congratulations to Troy.
Yes.
All right, move on to number 7. This is acknowledgement of the committee meeting minutes. These are planning and zoning. I think there's several planning and zoning, yeah, 6 of them. Any comments, discussion regarding any of those?
Motion to acknowledge the minutes.
All right.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to acknowledge the minutes from Andy and Sam. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? 5-0. Motion passes. All right, we'll move on to number 8, new business. Enhanced street sweeping, 2006. That's actually mine. So what it is 3 years ago, Anoka County came to us, their watershed group, and they've worked hard. We've all spent a lot of money on getting the lakes clean and clear. We got better water quality. What they have found in studies is that a lot of the runoff, especially in the spring and the fall with the leaves on the ground and debris, when that gets flushed into the lakes, it increases our phosphorus level and therefore it contaminates the water quality. So they came to the board 3 years ago and asked if we wanted to do an enhanced street sweeping grant. And what the grant is that they want us to do 4 street sweepings a year. So we do 2 earlier in the spring and then 2 shortly before we freeze up. And the way it's paid out, it was a little confusing last time. The way it's paid out is the first street sweeping, we don't get any grant money back for that. For the second, third, and fourth street sweepings, we get $400 back for each one of those. So it's not enough to cover, obviously, the cost of the street sweeping, but it does help us a little bit if we're gonna street sweep anyway. One thing that depending on the equipment this next year is the question will be is whether we can do street sweeping in-house or if we're gonna continue to contract it. So if we do it in-house, it might actually be a pretty even offset to the labor costs and stuff. So, there was the agreement was left on everybody's computers. It's the same one as we had 3 years ago. So I'm just looking for board's approval to let the Watershed Management Organization and ACD to move forward with requesting the grant. And then we'll accept it if we get awarded the grant, but we're pretty much assured we will. So I would like to make a motion that we move forward with the enhanced street sweeping grant with ACD. Is there a
I
second?
will second it.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded by John and Lisa. Any further discussion?
Question on.
Yep, come on up.
Brian Langlois, 6360232nd. Just curious, how many street sweepings do we currently do per season?
We're scheduled for 4 for the last 3 years. But sometimes what happens is there was some confusion in the contract because they stipulated March, May, and then I think September and October, I think, or maybe it's September, November, I think is the last ones. So what's happened in the last few years is sometimes either the snow is not off the ground or it still froze up in March. So the belief is that then we didn't do that street sweeping and we would do the next scheduled one. Whereas the way it actually works is that you would slip those back. So if we can't get out in March, well, then we go out in April and we just slip them back. So you've probably not seen them out street sweeping 4 times in the last few years. This spring we couldn't get out either, just the staffing issues. But now next year, we absolutely, in fact, we'll have all the bid stuff out. If we are going to contract for it, all that stuff will go out in January this year. So we'll be well in advance of the timing.
Okay, so this grant money, we haven't been utilizing that to date yet.
We've gotten some back, and the way it works is if you don't street sweep, we just don't submit for it. If we street sweep, we submit a form and then they send us the $400 for the
Prior
grant.
to this, receiving these grant monies, how many times were we doing it? Sweeping the streets?
Streeping the sweep, I would say each year we've averaged probably 3 times.
Okay, so we've
usually-
increased it by 1. And does that offset does the grant offset the cost of adding an additional street sweeping?
Oh, no. I mean, our street sweeping contract this year was like 6,000 some odd dollars. No, overall for 4 street sweepings. Yeah, so it offsets it about 1/3, not quite 1/3, but
Not quite pays for it, but
right.
Okay.
But it helps.
it does, and it isn't good for the legs.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. Yep, thank you. All right, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you for that. We'll move on to 8.2, which is Sam's. This is the agenda and the code of conduct.
So I just wanted to clarify a few things, with the description. So the way it's written currently, each item is supposed to have a description. I think we probably want to change that to just be each item under 8 and 9. Like we don't need a description for anything under 6 or 7 under the consideration, approval, or acknowledgement, or under the upcoming meeting. So a clarification there that's just for stuff that's under 8 and 9. And then the second question is like, for a description, if you look under 9.1, it says in parentheses, information only, search for second quote. Is that what we're thinking of as sufficient for a description, or are we wanting more of a description? Just because this is our first agenda after the code of conduct, so I want to see, is this what we're thinking, or are we thinking more of a description?
So for 8, what are you specifying just to start at the beginning? 8.1, you'd like to, it should say,
So question 1 is like, I think this is, we all agree unless somebody disagrees, that when we're talking about these descriptions, we're only talking about new business and old business items. We're not talking about adding a description for stuff that's under the consideration, under the consent agenda. Right,
Yeah, that's what we talked about before is
right.
I'd like to see a title and then just a short one line,
Mhm.
this is what that title means, because sometimes you can't tell by the title.
And that's just for new and old business.
Right.
So that's the first question. And the second question is, if you look at 9.1 where it says Human Resources Services Contract Update, information only, search for the second quote. So what's in parentheses? Is that what we're considering to be, this is mine, so that's my description. Is that a good enough description or are we wanting more is my question?
To me, the parentheses was the sponsor. If you don't, it's like, there's no RFA, there's no other document with this. This is just this, so you wouldn't know who was speaking to this.
Yes,
Other than,
ignoring the names, because this is the first one.
no, I
So-
get it, but that's, to me, that's where I was under the impression that that would be the descriptor, that you wouldn't necessarily have.
So you're saying like you'd expect like a little bit more of a description underneath it?
Not if there's nothing, just who's gonna speak to it. Is what we discussed with that descriptor.
Well, it's on the, under the code of conduct, it says two things are required. One is the name. And another is a brief description. So the brief description is required, which we can change if we think that's overkill, but for a brief description, are we wanting, like, would you want me to explain like more than what I've explained here?
And maybe that is where we lost on the definition. That brief description I thought was the RFA summary, the brief description that you're linking to.
Well, that was my next question is, so John's has the RFA.
No.
And John's description is like multiple paragraphs and that's great. Mine, it doesn't have an RFA. It's just information only. There's no request for action. And so if there is no request for action, are you saying there's not really any need for a description?
No, I would just say this one would just have to be, say your name after it, so we know when we get to it, who's speaking or presenting.
Okay. So I'm gonna amend the code of conduct then unless anybody disagrees, and I'll bring it back. To clarify that the description goes on the RFA and it's only required for items that have RFAs.
I like what you did here. But like Andy said, in quotes should be the name and then underneath it, another bullet underneath there. would have
Another
been
bullet.
That little thing.
Mhm.
Just so that because in this case, there wouldn't be an RFA, so you wouldn't have any documentation in the board packet to explain it. So that little short half a sentence
Mhm.
tells me that I don't have to be prepared for something or be blindsided by something.
So you're saying if there's no RFA, what I put here is sufficient, just put it as a bullet underneath.
I believe so.
Me personally, I like that, yeah.
Do we want to require that bullet if there's no RFA?
I would like to.
Okay. Then I'm
That
gonna,
way there's no surprises by anybody, when they're going through the packet coming in.
okay, but if there's an RFA, then the RFA is good on its own.
That substantiates everything, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's my feelings. I don't know what the rest of the board, what's the consensus? Lisa, good? Sam, good?
Okay, I'll
Bob?
clarify that in the
Andy?
document.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you. Any other questions on that topic?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. It's an easy one. All right, we'll move on to old business.
Okay.
And this is you again, Sam.
Human Resources Services Contract Update. I have some updates. So Abdo, I'm gonna talk in very general numbers. I don't have them in front of me. I will have them when it's time to make a decision. I'll have them included in the packet. But Abdo, from what I remember, it was around 1,200 to 1,300 a month was the cost of that. And it was gonna be around, when you sum it up, $35,000 a year for Abdo services.
I think it was 2480, wasn't it?
2480.
2480 a month, yeah.
And then I found a second quote from Thompson Co., which is different. So they are more about 150 to 400 a month, depending on what services we want. And again, I'll bring the details for that. but they are much more, they have a restriction, which is they will only, by paying like 150 a month, let's say, you can only ask them questions that they can solve in 15 minutes. If it's going to take more than 15 minutes, then they will be billing you like a lawyer rate, like $500 an hour. So we kind of have two very different quotes here, and we'll go into the details when it comes time to make a decision. I just want to update you guys on where those are at. Additionally, with Thompson Co., I do have a conflict of interest where I know the attorney who works there, a friend from college. So I'll have to abstain if I imagine that's how it works, or do I need to fill out any sort of forms? I'll just abstain
Yep.
when we're
Abstain.
voting on that. And the other key difference here is with the paid leave administrator. I don't know who all saw that email. We need to come up with a paid leave administrator quite quickly here. And from what I was reading, it seems like it's kind of like you have to go through training for it. You at least have to like register as the person. And then you're responsible for making sure that we follow through on all of the paid leave policies that are going to be enforced starting in 2026. Abdo, I reached out to them. They are willing to act as that paid leave administrator for us if we go with their HR services. They will not right now just, they're doing our payroll. They won't do that as part of payroll. They will do that as part of HR. Thompson Co., the much cheaper option, will not do that. So if we go with the cheaper option, it's just something to consider. If we don't go with Abdo, we are going to have to figure out who's going to be playing that paid leave administrator role. And from the email, it seems to be something that is complicated. I don't think it's something that either myself or Lisa are equipped to do, or anybody on the board is equipped to do. It seems to be, you gotta kind of know what you're talking about. So that's something to consider. I'm gonna continue looking for quotes. I'll probably bring them to the next meeting unless I'm just waiting on one last quote or something like that. I did reach out to the place that you had mentioned, Proformance. I don't think they exist anymore. Couldn't find them. I reached out to one other company. They will not do HR for us unless they're doing our payroll. So I told them no. I'll keep looking. It's kind of hard to find more options. But my intention is to probably bring this for a vote on the next town board meeting. And I'll bring all of the details and include them in the packet ahead of time. So that's, any questions about where this is going or anything?
I think this is great. I appreciate all the work you're putting into it.
Yeah.
Any questions for Sam? None?
All right,
Okay.
that's it.
Good, great, thank you. All right, upcoming meetings. Town board workshop. That's tonight's town board workshop, summarize and revise the 25 budget. That is going to be this Thursday, the 25th at 5:30 right here. School Forest is meeting October 6th at 5 o'clock. Road and Bridge will be meeting October 7th at 7. Planning and Zoning will be meeting October 21st at 6 p.m. And Parks will be meeting October 27th of 25 at 6 o'clock. Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for October 14th. Just a note that is 3 weeks out. We've got that extra week in here because of the way the calendar falls. So that'll be 3 weeks before the next one. Any meetings or anything that I missed? All right, anything else to come before the board tonight? All right, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn by Andy and Sam. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. This meeting is adjourned at 6:49.